So you have a sample, it sounds perfect, but as soon as you try to add bass to it, this happens. Well, do not worry. Today, I'm going to give you a simple framework that you can use to add bass to any sample by just following 3 simple steps. My name is Navie. I've been producing for over 15 years. I've made beats using samples that have gotten millions of streams that have been used by platinum artists. And I'm going to share my 3-step framework that you can use to add bass to any sample. It doesn't matter what kind of sample you have or what kind of beat you're making, everything I'm about to show you will work. So starting off, our first step is that we need to decide what kind of bass to add. Right now, you might be using the same 808 in every beat, or maybe you just don't even know where to start when choosing a bass. There are so many different choices: acoustic bass, upright bass, 808, Reese bass. Which is the right one for your beat? Well, here's how to make this simple. Every bass has 2 characteristics, and by thinking about these 2 characteristics, choosing your bass will become much easier. So let's start with the first. What are the differences between these 2 basses? Well, if you use your eyeballs correctly, you've already noticed that the shape of these basses are different from one another. And this is one of the characteristics that you should pay attention to when choosing your bass, the shape. If you use a bass that has a sustained shape like this, you'll have constant bass playing at a high volume for much longer in your beat. This can dominate your beat fast. If the bass is constantly playing like this, it's like having a person that doesn't stop talking. Your ears just don't get a break. And that's also why a complex bass line using sustained sounds can become overwhelming as well. Whereas if you use a bass that has a more transient shape that isn't constantly loud, this gives you a lot more flexibility to build bass lines that are complex and have more overall notes. These basses hit and quickly fade, and this overall shape gives you a lot more open space, as well as a moment for your ears to rest and reset. Therefore, building complex pattern with these basses becomes a bit easier. So in summary, if you want to build a bass line that's heavy and simple, a sustained bass can work. Whereas if you're building a more complex bass line, try going for a bass that has a transient shape. You might just find that the balance will just be a lot better. But that's just one characteristic you need to think about. Let's look at the second. As you can see, we have 2 basses that look similar this time, and yet they are different. Here's bass number 1, and here's bass number 2. So this is characteristic number 2, the frequencies of your bass. Some basses will be colorful with many frequencies that go beyond the actual low end subbiness, and other basses won't have as much color. So why does this matter? Well, anytime you add any new sound to your sample, whether it be bass or an instrument, you should always be thinking about what your sample actually needs. If your sample already has instruments and sounds that have frequencies that are in that colorful area of your bass, maybe you don't need a bass that has that much color in this situation. Whereas if your sample doesn't have much going on, this is when using a more colorful bass can be a good idea, since it can help you fill more space in your beat. And so that is how you do step number 1, choosing your bass. Think about the shape and the frequency of what your beat needs. Next, let's move on to step 2. You have your bass, now it comes time to build the actual pattern using it. So how do you do this? Well, a good place to start is to build a foundational bass line. This is an extremely simple, basic bass pattern that just follows exactly what your sample is doing, just as a starting point. So here I have my sample ready, and I'm going to open up Note Grabber, and when we hit play, we have our entire sample mapped out for us. Now to build a foundational bass line for this sample, here's what we can do. We just use the lowest notes in this sample and simply trace over them. Then from here, I will bring this into my beat and use this for my foundational bass line. Now we have our foundational bass line built. We did this by just following exactly what our sample is doing. So that is step 2 complete, to build a foundational bass line. Now, if your beat sounds good with just this basic pattern, then you can definitely stop here. But obviously there are times when this simple pattern just isn't doing enough. This is when adding complexity to your bass line can help. But how do we do this? Well, this is exactly when we move on to step 3. When trying to add complexity to a bass line, producers often struggle. What notes should you use? When should you use them? Well, I like to think about movement in the sample and using this as a guide. Let me show you what I mean. If we take a look at the sample, you'll notice that there are parts where there's a lot more movement happening, meaning there are a lot of notes playing, like here, and here. But outside of this, the sample has less movement. And this is what you can use to decide when to add complexity to your baseline. This is an important idea that I learned way too late, and it's the idea of auditory salience. It's a fancy term, but here's what it means. The way the human ear works is that the more movement a sound has, the more your ear will pay attention to it. But if the ear has to pay attention to multiple sounds with a lot of movement, it will struggle to know what to pay attention to. And this is why movement in your sample is important to pay attention to. By building a more simple baseline during the high movement parts of your sample, it will create a nice balance. And during the parts of the sample that are more straightforward, this is a good opportunity to create complexity in your baseline. So for this sample, that means that during these pockets with more happening, we should have a more simple bass idea here, and the areas with less going on is a great opportunity to add more. So that's when to add more notes to your baseline. And when it comes to what notes to use, again, you can figure this out by ear. But I'm simply going to use the notes that I already know exist in the sample by using Note Grabber. Here we have an A sharp, an F, a C, a D sharp, a G sharp, a C sharp, and here we have an F sharp. So this list of notes is enough to get started on my baseline. From here, we're going to add these notes to our foundational baseline. So this is what we have to start. So let's add a few notes to the beginning section of the sample first and hear how this sounds. All right, so far so good. And notice in this section, when we have a lot more movement with the guitar that's in the sample, I'm keeping this part of my baseline simple. But right after this, I will continue to add more complexity. So let's again hear how this sounds. I think this is a good amount of balance so far. Now let's do the rest of the baseline. And this is the final step to adding bass to your sample, which is to add movement if needed. And again, if you need help seeing what's happening in your samples or you need help building bass lines around your samples, try out Note Grabber by clicking this little box next to me. But that's how you add bass to your samples. However, if you need help with sampling overall, click this other video next to me. This framework that I will give you will be a game changer. Click one of these things and I promise you will not regret it. So yeah. Click something.